Hi everyone, Greeno here and welcome to another video here on Greeno Eats. Now we're still down in Cornwall, myself, Mrs Greeno and little 'un, and this is the third of 3 videos we're going to be bringing you on this little Cornish trip. Now where am I today? I am in Padstow, and behind me here on the South Quay is part of Rick Stein's massive kind of Padstow business empire. He's got a deli here, a fish and chip restaurant, and we're going to be going to the fish and chip takeaway. Now this place gets mixed reviews, to be honest. You may have seen the video from my friend Gary not that long ago where he was very unimpressed, particularly with the scampi. So what we thought we would do here, we're going to get the fish and chips from Rick Stein and we're also going to get one from somewhere else, and we are going to compare the two, see how it stands up against there, price-wise, quality-wise. So let's take a little look around and get our first lot of fish and chips from Rick Stein. Cod and chips, mushy peas, and a curry sauce. Thank you. $19.95, okay? Right, so we got our order in. Been given this little buzzer thing for when it's ready. So what I've ordered is a portion of cod and chips, a mushy peas, and a curry sauce. This is a Goan curry sauce, so it should be a little bit different to your bog standard chip shop curry sauce, hopefully. That has come to a total of $19.95. So the fish and chips is $15.95, the mushy peas are £2, and so is the curry sauce. So the sides are not expensive. Fish and chips at $15.95 is a touch strong perhaps, but we'll see how it is. So we're having to wait for the food to be cooked now. We were actually the first customers in. We waited outside the door for it to open up so we could get in first. So everything, presumably, is going to be cooked fresh to order. So it's going to be as good as it's going to get. Looking forward to trying this. Hopefully, we have a better experience than Gary did. Right, folks. So, first fish and chips collected from Rick Stein's. This is the cod and chips, mushy peas, and a Goan curry sauce. Let's take a closer look at what's inside. Right then folks, so this is what we've got. We have the cod and chips over here. I have to say the cod looks nicely battered and it's a reasonably thick piece of fish, but it's not the biggest. The chips don't look too bad. A few slightly problematical ones with bits in the spud there. Now I said these were pretty good value for money on the menu, but they're absolutely tiny. It's a thimble full of curry sauce and the mushy peas, similar size. So perhaps not as good value as I thought. Anyway, this little lot's cost 20 quid, but the proof is in the eating, isn't it? So let's give it a go. Right, so we'll start with the cod and chips. So the chips here, a nice sort of colour to them, relatively chunky chips. Could be crispier on the outside. They have got quite a nice flavour to them. The inside is cooked nicely. I suppose they are crispy on the ends and whatever, but as you can see, you can snap them really easily without too much crisp to them. And see how flexible it is. But the flavour's not bad. Let's have a look at this fish. Now we've got a bit of fairly unnecessary greenery on the top there. A slice of lemon, which is a nice little touch. You don't get that in your bog standard chippy necessarily, so we'll give that a little go on the cod. And I'll break a piece off so we can take a look inside. See how it looks. That looks very nice actually. A nice chunky piece of fish there. Really nice white flakes. The batter looks maybe like it's a little thick. It looks possibly a little doughy inside. Let's give it a try. It is. I think the batter they've used is possibly a little bit thick. So while the outside does have a reasonable crisp to it, the inside isn't particularly well cooked. The cod is lovely and hot and fresh and a really nice piece of fish. I just think the batter could have been nicer. The flavour's good though. Not bad. Let's move on to the accompaniments. Now the only way to dive into these really is with a chip, isn't it? So we'll start with the mushy peas. I don't know about mushy, that's a solid lump of pea, that. I think you could stick wallpaper onto the wall with it. Anyway, you see that? And mushy peas, to my mind, should be a little more liquid than that. The flavour's okay. Got a bit of seasoning in there, there's some pepper. But the consistency could be a lot better than that, it really could. Let's try the curry sauce. Now the curry sauce has got a nice consistency. If you can get in a little bit closer and have a look at this. It's clinging to the chip very nicely. It's reasonably runny, but not so runny that it's not clinging to the chip. And it has got a coconutty kind of element to it. It is more like an Indian style curry sauce. Quite sweet. Not too much heat to it, just a little bit. But the one thing I will say, which is a bit of a disappointment with it, it's no more than lukewarm. And like I say, we're the first customers in the shop today. So why is that not piping hot? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to let Mrs. Greeno and Little have a little go at this. And we'll see what their opinion is too. Mrs. Greeno and Little are having a go at this now. Let's see their first reactions to it. Mrs. Greeno is slightly concerned about being a bit windswept given the slightly windy conditions. You think that's good. What did you just have, Little?
A chip.
Just a chip. Was it crispy enough? What do you think, Mrs. Greeno?
Chip is good.
The chip is good, okay. Are you going to try it with anything else?
I tried the curry sauce.
Curry sauce for Mrs. Greeno.
I love the flavour, but it's not hot at all.
Yeah, that's right. It's not hot, is it? It is pretty much room temperature. The mushy peas.
The flavour is good.
Yeah.
Consistency no good.
Yeah, that's right. Too thick.
Stodgy. Yeah.
Too thick and stodgy. Need a little bit more liquid in them.
Yeah.
Have either of you tried the fish yet?
No.
Okay, here goes Mrs. Greeno with the fish then.
The fish is nice.
You both like the fish?
Yeah. I love the fish.
The fish is good. What do you think about the batter on it?
Well, this one is not cooked.
Yeah. So possibly a bit thick, the batter, so that it hasn't cooked right through in the middle, or it's just been steamed where the fish is hot.
Maybe.
Yeah. What do we think though, kind of out of 10?
8.5.
8.5 from Little, that's a high score.
That's 6.5.
6.5 from Mrs. Greeno. I think that's a bit closer to it. Right, so that's chippy number 1 done, the Rick Stein's fish and chip place. I mean, it's not bad, okay? I would say probably about a 7 out of 10 overall. The chips are quite light, although you'd think with a place like this, they'd take a bit more care and attention over getting rid of all the sort of black bits out of the chips. The fish itself was very, very tasty. A lovely piece of cod. Just the batter was a bit too thick. And where it's steamed inside, it wasn't crispy. So that's something you would imagine someone like Rick Stein would have a grip on, isn't it? The curry sauce, flavour absolutely great and a little bit different to what you'd normally expect in a chippy, but a very small portion and not even hot, even though we're the first customers of the day. The mushy peas, similar, kind of like concrete. Not a great consistency to them, but the flavour was really nice. Nice little bit of pepper in there. So the taste was good, the consistency just all wrong. Too many little things that they should have a grip on and they haven't. Anyway, we're going to have a little stroll now. I've seen another chippy, probably about 300 yards away. Looks more like a locals kind of place. We'll go and try that out and see how it fares compared to Rick Stein's. Okay then folks, so we have found ourselves a second chippy here in Padstow. Behind me is Chip Ahoy. Probably 200-300 yards away from Rick Stein's. You just come along to where the main harbour is, and just in one little street behind, you'll find this. What we're going to do, we're going to compare by getting exactly the same meal. Cod, chips, curry sauce and mushy peas. And see how they stand up price-wise, quality-wise. See which one we like best. Let's get it ordered. Right, so I've been in and ordered from Chip Ahoy. A bit more of a budget option, this one. I've paid £17, but that includes a saveloy, because Little wants a saveloy. He's a bit fed up with fish and chips, I suppose. So, yeah, so I think it was £15 and 20 pence without the saveloy, compared to the £20 we just paid at Rick Stein's, so about 75% of the price. How will the quality be, though? Let's get it opened up and take a look. Pretty crowded around here in Padstow, so we basically had to sit on a little step on the pavement here to try this second of fish and chips from Chip Ahoy. Now, you'll have seen in the little B-roll there, the fish and chips, slightly healthier portion than I got at Rick Stein's, it has to be said. The fish looks pretty good. It's a nice big piece. The chips have a slightly darker cook on a lot of them. I don't know if that's to do with the type of potato used or whether they've just been cooked for longer. But they look pretty good. Again, not too many black bits in this one compared to the ones at Rick Stein's. The curry sauce and the peas are more what you expect as a regular kind of chip shop affair. So it's a bit of a sort of runny-ish curry sauce there. And the peas actually move around a little bit when you move the tub. They're not like a solid brick. So, let's start off by trying these chips. So, a pretty good looking chip that, I think. Pre-salted. Again, not the crispiest, but nicely cooked again. Cooked right through in the middle. Nice and fluffy inside. That's not a bad chip. I would say possibly the flavour of the Rick Stein one was slightly better. I think it's just a different type of potato they've used here. But for a sort of seaside fish and chips, that is a perfectly good chip, it really is. Now, unlike Rick's, they provided a fork for me to get into this with. It actually came in the box. The fish, again, you can see here, really nice white, flaky fish. But I think we're going to have a similar kind of problem to what we had at Rick's there with the batter. It looks a little thick, so it's a little stodgy on the inside here. Anyway, let's give it a bite, give it a try. The fish itself, again, just like the one at Rick Stein's, is beautiful and fresh. Look at that lovely white flesh there. And it just comes away in lovely flakes. So that's nice and fresh. The batter though, again, is not cooked through inside. And if anything, it's a little greasier than the one at Rick's. So, again, possibly the one at Rick Steins is slightly better than this one. Although it's marginal, you know? But definitely a little greasier to the touch than the Rick Stein one was. Let's try these sides. We have the mushy peas here. And as I said, this is more of a regular kind of mushy pea consistency, where you've got a bit of liquid, a bit of viscosity in there. And this just tastes more like a bog standard chippy mushy peas. The one at Rick Stein's had the addition of pepper and was really, really tasty. But the consistency was wrong. This one, possibly not as much flavour as the one at Rick Stein's, but the consistency is better. Swings and roundabouts. The curry sauce, let's take a look at this. Now the one at Rick Stein's wasn't as runny as this, and it was that Goan curry sauce, if you remember, whereas this is just a normal chip shop curry sauce. I'm going to chip and dip it in, so you can see it does kind of drip off a little bit from the chip, but not too much. The flavour, again, a regular chip shop curry sauce. This is what you expect to get when you're down by the seaside. A regular kind of standard fish chips, curry, mushy peas. Is it better than the one I had at Rick Stein's? I don't think so. But the sides are hot and the consistency is not bad on either of them. The fish and chips, pretty comparable, to be honest. I think like I said, the chips at Rick's were possibly a little tastier, and the fish possibly a little less greasy. But bear in mind, at Rick Stein's, we paid £20. This is 15. £5 cost difference. Is it worth that difference? I don't think so. I think you're paying for the name a little bit with Rick Stein. But what this goes to prove is that his isn't that bad. I know he gets a bit of a slating from some people, but I think possibly, if I was to score this just as a meal, I'd probably say this is a 6.5 out of 10, whereas Rick's was a 7. Both not great, but both are sort of decent enough seaside fish and chips. Okay, Little 'un is getting stuck into this fish now. She has picked the very sort of fat end of the fish with the lovely big flakes of cod in there. Have a nice bite and see what you think of it. It's amazing. Okay, do you want to try a chip? What do you think about the chips to look at? They look good, okay. They're fluffy inside, are they? Yeah. We'll make a YouTube food reviewer out of you yet. Do you want to dip it into the curry or the... You're going for the curry, not the peas. Nice curry sauce. It's just like a normal chip shop one.
Tastes better than the one we had before.
You like the flavour of this one better than the Rick Stein one? Okay. And how about the mushy peas? Give that a little taste. Those are good as well. So if I was to get you fish and chips from Chip Ahoy, these ones, or fish and chips from Rick Stein's, which one do you think you would prefer to eat? The Chip Ahoy ones, you'd like this one better than Rick Stein's, and it's cheaper. Right then folks, so we have compared and contrasted the two chip shop experiences that we have found down here in Padstow in Cornwall. First off went to Rick Stein's, decent quality produce. I was a bit annoyed about some of the cooking of the stuff, the heating of the sauces. I mean, that could have been a good 8, 9 out of 10 just on the quality of the food. The preparation of it let it down a little bit, so it became a 7. The Chip Ahoy place, more of a bog standard chippy experience, to be honest with you. Decent fish and chips, bog standard curry sauce and mushy peas, more what you expect really from a normal chippy. Not bad quality, not the best fish and chips I've ever had, but bear in mind, Rick Stein''s was a £5 or more for exactly the same meal. So I think to an extent you're paying a little bit for the name there. But both of them perfectly adequate. If you happen to be in Padstow, of course, you're expecting to pay a little bit more for seaside fish and chips in a place like this. But you know what? I'd happily eat either of them again. Not bad. There ends our little trip to Cornwall. We are driving back to Dorset after we finish up here today. If you enjoyed our videos down here, don't forget, click a thumbs up on there for me. It does help with the channel. And if you're new around here and you like what you've seen, why not consider clicking the subscribe button, ding your little bell for notifications, and that way you won't miss anything coming up on the channel. And don't forget to let me know if there's anywhere around that you think I should be travelling to, down in the comments, let me know where I should be heading. Right, that's it from us here in Cornwall. Catch you on the next one. Bye for now.